My heartfelt yearning never ceases. Secretly, I always plan to climb the tower as agreed. Time has failed me, and it's hard for us to meet. Emotions entangle me, and I'm not free. In the long night, surely she'll cherish the fragrant knee cover. When bored, she might play with the jade hairpin. The cherry blossoms fade and the pear blossoms bloom. My heart breaks with the sorrows of youth in two different places. The poem above solely speaks of the two characters love and lust. These two characters are an integrated whole, with one being the essence and the other the manifestation. Thus, beauty dazzles the eyes, and emotions stir the heart. Love and lust give rise to each other, and the eyes and the heart interact. From ancient times to the present, even benevolent and noble gentlemen cannot forget them. An ancient Jin dynasty man once said, "Where love is deeply rooted, it is precisely among people like us." Huiwen said, "The feeling of love and lust is like a magnet. When it meets a needle, they unconsciously come together. Even inanimate objects are like this, let alone I who live my life surrounded by emotions all day long." Now, why are we talking about these two characters love and lust? Let's talk about Wu Gonggai from Linhua. During the Xiantong era, he served as the staff officer of Henan Prefecture. His beloved concubine was called Fi Yiyan, with the surname Buledin. She had a delicate and beautiful appearance, so weak that she could barely bear the weight of silk clothes. She was good at singing the Qin-style songs and liked writing poems. Gonggai doted on her very much. The neighboring house belonged to the Zhao family from Tianshui, also a family of the gentry. Their son, Zhao Xiang, was handsome, elegant, and well-versed in literature. One day, he happened to catch a glimpse of Fi Yiyan through a crack in the southern wall. He was so entranced that he lost his appetite and kept thinking about her. Then he generously bribed Gonggai's doorkeeper and told him his feelings. The doorkeeper showed a reluctant expression. Later, tempted by the bribe, he asked his wife to wait for a moment when Fi Yiyan was alone and told her about Xiang's feelings. When Fi Yiyan heard this, she just smiled and didn't answer. The doorkeeper's wife told Xiang everything. Xiang was driven crazy with longing and didn't know what to do. He took Xue Tao's writing paper and wrote a quatrain on it. The poem went: "The green is dim and the red is sparse, and a hazy mist rises. Alone, I bear my secret hatred in front of the small courtyard. In the deep and quiet night, with whom can I talk? The stars are separated by the Milky Way and the moon is in the middle of the sky." After writing it, he sealed it secretly and begged the doorkeeper's wife to deliver it to Fi Yiyan. After Fi Yiyan read it, she sighed for a long time and said to the woman, "I also once caught a glimpse of young Master Zhao. He has great talent and good looks. I have little fortune in this life and am not worthy of him. I have always disliked Master Wu for being rough and fierce. He is not a man fit for great success." Then she replied with a poem written on the golden phoenix writing paper. The poem went: "The spring swallows on the painted eaves should know where to roost. Can the pair of mandarin ducks in the orchid-fragrant shoal fly alone? I always regret that my sisters in the peach blossom spring casually send their lovers back among the flowers." She sealed it and gave it to the doorkeeper's wife, asking her to give it to Xiang. When Xiang opened the letter, he was delighted and said, "My affair is going to succeed." Then he just sat quietly, burned incense, and often prayed earnestly, waiting. A few days later, towards evening, the doorkeeper's wife came in a hurry, smiling and bowing, saying, "Young Master Zhao, do you want to see the fairy?" Xiang was startled and asked repeatedly. She relayed Fi Yiyan's words, "The staff officer is on duty at the prefectural office tonight. It's a good opportunity. The back courtyard of my house is just in front of your wall. If you don't break our promise and come as expected, we can meet." After saying this, it was already getting dark. Xiang climbed up the ladder. Fi Yiyan had already placed a thick mattress below. After he came down, he saw Fi Yiyan in a gorgeous dress and beautiful makeup, who welcomed him into the room. They held hands and went to bed, enjoying each other's affection. At dawn, Xiang held Fi Yiyan's hand and said, "I have met a peerless beauty and embraced a rare person. We have transcended the boundaries between the living and the dead, and I will always enjoy your company and intimacy." After saying this, he secretly returned home. After that, within less than 10 days, they often had a rendezvous in the back courtyard. They showed their deep affection and fulfilled their long-cherished desires, thinking that neither ghosts nor birds would know, and that people and gods would help them. This went on for a whole year. Before long, Fi Yiyan often whipped her maid for trivial reasons. The maid held a grudge and took the opportunity to tell Gongai everything. Gongai said, "You must be careful not to spread the word. I will investigate it myself." Later, on the day when he was supposed to be on duty in the office, he secretly submitted a request for leave. At night, as usual, he went on duty, then secretly lurked at the entrance of the alley. When the evening drum sounded, he tiptoed back and followed the wall to the back courtyard. He saw Fi Yiyan leaning against the door, softly chanting a poem, and Xiang was leaning against the wall, looking at her. Gongai couldn't contain his anger and rushed forward to catch Xiang. Xiang noticed and jumped out. Gongai grabbed him and managed to tear off half of his sleeve. Then he entered the room and called Fi Yiyan to question her. Fi Yiyan's expression changed, but she didn't tell the truth. Gongai became even angrier. He tied her to a big pillar and whipped her until she bled. Fi Yiyan just said, "I'd rather be together in life, and I have no regrets even if I die." Then she drank a cup of water and died. Xiang then changed his clothes and name and fled far away to the rivers and lakes to avoid the immediate danger. It's a pity that their relationship ended like the dispersing of clouds and rain, and the waning of the moon and the fading of flowers. Moreover, as Zhao Xiang was resourceful and knew when to act, he escaped from the clutches of danger and avoided being killed. He can be said to be someone who was good at repenting. Now there is also an ignorant young man who had an affair with a woman. He indulged in pleasure every day and was infatuated with her every morning. Later, it led to a disaster. He was killed under the knife and his life ended in the nether world. As a result, he couldn't take care of his mother, his wife was left unattended, his son wailed in the cold winter, and his daughter cried out of hunger all day long. Thinking about it calmly, what on earth was the reason for all this? Moreover, didn't this woman take your life? Truly. Beautiful eyebrows are like the blades of a beauty, killing all the amorous people in the world. Storyteller, do you know where this woman lived and what her name was? Originally, she was the daughter of a man surnamed Zhang from the rural area outside Wulan Gate in Hangzhou Prefecture, Zhejiang Province. Her given name was Shuzhen. She was extremely beautiful. Her face was as delicate as peach blossoms, yet more charmingly fair than the pure red or white of the blossoms. Her eyebrows were like willow leaves, even finer and more curved than the real ones. Since childhood, she had been intelligent and ingenious. She was skilled at embroidering dragons and phoenixes and could cut out patterns as fine as snowflakes and clouds. In her heart, she had a fondness for romantic affairs and could also drink a few cups of wine. When she reached the age of marriage, her parents tried to arrange a marriage for her, but none of the suitors from either the east or the west were satisfactory. She often had secret desires and was frequently troubled by the longing of spring. She lamented that she hadn't met the right person in her prime and was constantly depressed. She wouldn't roll up the curtains, feeling ashamed to see the pairs of purple swallows flying by. Leaning on the high pavilion, she was tired of hearing the yellow orioles singing together. No one knew when this woman would fulfill her long-cherished wish. Thus, she composed 10 short tunes in the Shang mode titled Vinegar Gourd to record the events and briefly describe the whole story of this woman. I ask the singing companions to first listen to the rhythm and then to these unpolished words. Her 2 clear autumn-like eyes are as bright as water, and her 3-inch small lotus-like feet are revealed. Her slender waist sways like willows in the spring breeze. Compared with Hong her charm is even more delicate. She is wonderful in every way, and even one who has seen countless beautiful women would be entranced by her. Moreover, considering this daughter of the Zhang family, with such a beautiful appearance and such cleverness, why didn't the wealthy and powerful families, the young masters of noble families, the scholars, or the rich merchants come to propose marriage? However, this girl had a rather strange temperament. She painted her eyebrows and eyes, applied powder and rouge, combed a high side bun, wore a form-fitting dress, and put on airs, looking affected. Sometimes she would lean against the railing lost in thought, and sometimes she would smile at passers-by on the street. Therefore, the neighbors all looked down upon her. So, time passed by, and before she knew it, she was already over 20 years old. There was a boy next door named Akiao. He was still a child and often came to the girl's house to play. Unexpectedly, this girl had already harbored improper thoughts for some time. Besides, Akiao was still young, and his parents didn't think it was strange, so the two families had close and unrestrained interactions. One day, the girl's parents went out. Akiao happened to come by, and the girl lured him into the room and forced him into an improper relationship. Suddenly, they heard urgent knocking at the door. Akiao was frightened and fled. The girl's parents returned home and didn't know about it either. And this girl's desire was burning like a fire. She had long been longing for such things. Since her emotional desires were awakened, she couldn't control herself. When Akiao returned home, the shock overwhelmed him and he died. When the girl heard of his death, she was extremely grief-stricken, but she didn't dare to show it on her face. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. Her furrowed eyebrows still hold the lingering hatred, and the beloved who understood her heart is already gone. In an instant, the love affair ended like the clouds and rain in Wuyang. Since we parted, I have been thinking of him day and night. I'm left with all these feelings in vain. Only in my dreams can I see my lover. After Akiao's death, this girl was very unhappy. She thought to herself, it's all my fault that I took his young life. She was restless every day. In the blink of an eye, another month passed. One morning, when the girl was dressing up, her parents happened to notice that she looked strange, with an absent-minded expression. The old man said to his wife, could it be that Shuzhen has done something improper? Little did they know that the girl's beauty had faded like the fallen spring flowers, and her charm was gone. The old couple blamed each other for a while, fearing that their relatives would laugh at them. As the saying goes, a grown daughter can't be kept at home. Keeping her at home was like having a package of smuggled salt, it was better to get rid of her. Otherwise, once the matter was exposed and a scandal occurred, it would be embarrassing. After the old couple finished talking, they asked Sister Wang to act as a matchmaker. Let's find a suitable match, make up for the differences, and get her married off. One day, Sister Wang came to say that she would be married to Li Erlang from a nearby village as his wife. Li Erlang was a farmer in his 40s. He only cared about her beauty and didn't consider other things. After she got married, the two got along quite well. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 years passed. Li Erlang was exhausted from being pestered by her all night long. When he was almost 50, his passion had faded. But this woman was in her prime and still had an insatiable appetite for such things. She even had an affair with the family's private tutor. When Li Erlang found out, he fell ill and died. This woman had now caused the deaths of 2 people. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. They had been married for more than 10 years, and her romantic feelings had been stirred several times. The disaster within the family occurred in an instant. Now, it has become an even more difficult situation. The pair of lovebirds were separated, and she leaned against the railing, speechless and secretly shedding tears. Li Dalin dismissed the private tutor and chose a day to bury his younger brother. This woman had to observe mourning for 3 years. Her family already knew about her improper behavior and kept an eye on her. The woman herself knew her mistakes and didn't dare to act recklessly. Day and night, she endured a lot of hardship. Sometimes she had a full meal, and sometimes she went hungry, and the family members ignored her. After nearly a year, Li Dalin thought it was useless to keep her and decided to send her back, so as to avoid bringing shame to the family. He called the original matchmaker and sent the woman back with nothing but the clothes on her back. The woman was like a bird out of a cage or a fish that had escaped the net. She didn't care about the other belongings. When she returned home, her parents had no choice but to take her in, but they didn't treat her kindly and regarded her like a servant girl. The woman endured it willingly. One day, a master Zhang Erguan passed by and saw this woman. He was very attracted to her. He asked someone to act as a matchmaker and proposed to take her as his second wife. The girl's parents readily agreed, eager to get rid of her. Master Zhang Erguan was a traveling merchant who was often away from home and didn't know the details of her past. He prepared gifts such as trays of food, sheep, and wine and chose an auspicious day to get married. If this woman hadn't gone, it would have been all right. But this time, it was like a pig or a sheep running towards a slaughterhouse, step by step heading towards death. That night, the painted candles flickered with light, and the fragrance of powder filled the air. At the sumptuous feast, there were the two newlyweds. In the brocade quilt, they each revealed their own past experiences. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. I'm happy that the moon is full again tonight, and I'm enjoying the fragrant flowers in the famous garden. Hand in hand, we smile and get on the carved bed. We indulge in love and seem to be lost in a drunken dreamland. Before we know it, our bodies feel completely relaxed, and the broken string of love is mended, and our love is fulfilled. After their wedding, they sat side by side during the day and slept with their legs intertwined at night, as inseparable as fish in water and as adhesive as glue. One completely forgot the love of her former husband, and the other never mentioned the appearance and voice of his deceased wife. The woman envied the man's wealth, and the man adored the woman's beauty. They lived together for a month. One day, Master Zhang got up early and told his servant to pack his luggage. He was going to Deking to collect debts. How could this woman bear to let him go? Master Zhang had no choice but to leave. The woman shed tears. Master Zhang said, "Since we are husband and wife, there's no need to be like this." They each wished the other well and parted. Half a month passed since Zhang left. This woman had been without a man's company for a long time. Although she had a good husband now, she still hadn't fully satisfied her desires. And now, being left alone and feeling lonely, it was really hard for her to pass the time. Feeling tired, she walked to the door and idly looked around. In the store opposite, there was a young man, about over 30 years old. He had a refined appearance and elegant manners. She then asked her maid, "A man?" A man said, "This store is run by Zhu Bingzhong. This man is very amiable, and people call him little brother Zhu." After asking, the woman didn't even eat her supper and went upstairs to sleep. Outside the building was the official river, where boats were moored. When it was almost the second watch of the night, she suddenly heard the faint singing of the boatmen. She listened carefully, and the song went like this. 20 has passed and 21 has come. It's stupid not to have an affair. One day when your beauty fades, you'll beckon with both hands, but the lover won't come. From then on, the woman once again had the idea of coveting. Often, she would stand alone by the door. Zhu Bingzhong would come to flirt with her from time to time. They admired each other, communicating with their eyes and eyebrows, but they were regretful that they couldn't have a heart-to-heart talk. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. Her face is charmingly plump and fair, and her hair is sleek and long. He has been crazy about drinking and visiting brothels for half his life. He tells lies in front of others. He has no noble spirit at all, and just indulges in having affairs with women. The woman envied Zhu Bingzhong very much, but there was never a good opportunity. One day, Zhang came back from collecting debts. The husband and wife met and talked about the time they had been apart. The woman seemed unhappy, but she just forced herself to be pleasant. Her heart was actually all on Zhu Bingzhong. Zhang only stayed at home for a little over a month. It was the middle of winter. He bought some groceries for the upcoming festival, rented a boat to load them and went to sell them. But the business wasn't satisfactory. He sold the goods on credit, and he couldn't collect the old debts either. Suddenly, the end of the year was approaching, and he couldn't go home for the new year. So he sent some things home in advance. Let's not talk about that. Now, Zhu Bingzhong, seeing that her husband wasn't at home, took the opportunity to go to the woman's house to celebrate the festival. She invited him to have a few cups of wine. He intended to do something improper. However, there were so many people coming and going that he didn't have a chance. So they made an appointment to meet on the Lantern Festival. Bingzhong agreed and left. In the blink of an eye, it was the evening of the 13th day when the lanterns were first displayed. Then, every household was beating gongs and drums, and every family was playing musical instruments. Tourists were singing in groups, and ladies and gentlemen were dancing gracefully with their sleeves fluttering. The colorful lanterns were arranged into an AO mountain, towering 100 feet high into the clear sky. The fragrance of the incense was thick, faintly enveloping the thousand-layered streets. Inside and outside the quiet courtyard, the precious candles gave off a soft light. The tall and low pavilions were brightly illuminated by the brilliant lanterns. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. The music of the xiao and shao instruments resounds, and thousands of lotus flowers in the pond seem to be in full bloom. Looking at the bustling streets, the laughter is so loud that the whole city is like a sea of spring. I'm waiting for my lover in front of the lanterns, but several times I'm afraid that others will suspect our relationship. That night, Bingzhong put on his clothes and boots early in the evening and just walked around on the street. The woman was also at the door, making flirtatious gestures. When they saw each other, they were secretly delighted and were sure that they would succeed this time. Unexpectedly, the woman's mother went to see the lanterns and took the opportunity to visit her daughter. The woman closed the door and invited her in to pay her respects. She had to let her mother stay for the night. Bingzhong waited until midnight and then went home feeling dejected. The next night, it was the same situation. He just met the woman. She asked him angrily why he had broken the promise. They got close to each other, but they could only be in a half-embraced position, shaped like the Chinese character, and then separated. Later, the woman prepared wine for her mother. Her mother saw that she was listless and said to her, "Now you've married into a better family. You should behave yourself and also bring honor to your parents." Who knew that the woman had already made an appointment with Bingzhong to wait for him for 2 nights? Wasn't it like divining at the gate of hell? In the early morning, she bought 2 bundles of fried dough twists and hired a sedan chair to send her mother back. In the evening, taking advantage of a moment when no one was paying attention, Bingzhong sneaked into the woman's house and went upstairs. The woman didn't even look at the lanterns. She took off her clothes and they embraced each other, fully enjoying the pleasure of being together. In fact, the woman had been with several men before, some old and some young, but none of them could bring her to such an ecstatic state. After this encounter, she felt her body limp and her bones soft, and the indescribable pleasure was beyond words. And Zhu Bingzhong was used to having affairs with women. He was well versed in the 10 essential skills. What were the 10 skills? First, be generous with money. Second, don't care about the time and effort. Third, use sweet words. Fourth, be gentle and affectionate. Fifth, act flirtatiously and pestering. Sixth, show your skills in bed. Seventh, pretend to be deaf and dumb when necessary. Eighth, choose the right friends to go with. Ninth, dress in new and eye-catching clothes. 10th, be friendly and amiable. For a charming person like him, not a single one of these skills can be missing. Let's talk about Bingzhong. After he left, Zhang Erguan came back again. The woman then felt extremely eager for Bingzhong. The only way for her to be happy was to meet him. I asked the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. The horns sound to announce the dusk, and a few lines of tears add to the sadness. Even the deepest love in the corners of the sea can't be compared to this. It's so hard to control this itching feeling in my heart. I can't be close to him, and this painful longing twists my heart. The woman was delighted with the pleasure she had the previous evening and hoped to reach a better state. She made an appointment with Bingzhong to meet again later, hoping to stay together for dozens of nights in a row. Who knew that Zhang Erguan came home, and she was so disappointed that she fell ill. She had a headache, an abdominal pain, a feverish body, and felt cold. Zhang Erguan had been looking forward to coming home to rest and have a good time. But seeing that his wife was unwell, he became worried. He invited a doctor to treat her, asked a witch to perform a sacrifice, and personally tasted the medicine for her. He didn't even take off his clothes while taking care of her, and he suffered a lot, which was different from when he was away. Now, Zhu Bingzhong was restless, thinking about the woman all the time. He made an excuse to visit Zhang Erguan and said, "I haven't come to pay my respects to you for a long time. I heard that you've returned. I'm here to pay you a visit today. I'd like to invite you to my humble abode tomorrow noon. I'll prepare some simple food and wine to welcome you back. Please don't decline." The next day, Zhang Erguan went to the banquet. Bingzhong asked his wife and daughter to offer wine to Zhang Erguan. Zhang Erguan got very drunk and was helped home. After that, they visited each other frequently. Whenever the woman heard that Bingzhong was there, she would talk and laugh and seem to be in good health. But if he didn't come, she would groan and cry, and the neighbors were tired of hearing it. Zhang Er hoped that his wife would get better soon, but who knew that her condition was getting worse day by day. When the woman was ill, whenever she closed her eyes, she would see Akiao and Li Erlang, who had died before, coming together to claim her life. Their appearances gradually became more ferocious and menacing. The woman was terrified and dared not tell the truth. She only said to Zhang Er, "Could you please ask for me, when will I recover from this illness?" As she had asked, Zhang Er went straight to the divination shop of Mr. Dong Xiu. After casting the divination, the judgment was, this illness is extremely serious. There are the vengeful spirits of a young and an old person who died violently. It's not a problem in this life but a grievance from a previous life. Tonight, you should prepare one set each of offerings, wine, fruits, and clothes for the dead. When the constellation of Ghost, Gaixiu, is crossing the river, lay them out facing west and earnestly plead. Maybe there will be a slight chance of rescue. Otherwise, it will definitely not end well. I ask the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again, they mock and resent me bitterly. I seem to see them vaguely. I'm so sick that my eyes are blurred, and my thin body can't bear this chaos. They said they won't let me off easily. When will I be free from these two foes? While Zhang Er was performing the sacrifice according to the method, the woman, lying in bed, saw Akiao and Li Erlang clapping their hands and saying, "We have already complained to the heavens and have come to claim your life. You asked your later husband, Zhang Er, to plead with us repeatedly, and his sincerity is very deep. We will allow you to live until the 5th day of the 5th lunar month. When the person who has been with you comes, he will meet you through the hands of Zhang, the surname of Zhang Er. After saying this, they happily disappeared. That night, the woman felt a bit more refreshed, and gradually she recovered as before. Zhang Er was overjoyed. Let's not mention that for now. However, seeing that Zhu Bingzhong was getting closer day and night and kept sending gifts, Zhang Er became quite suspicious, though he still wasn't completely convinced. One day, Zhang Er went to the city to urge the collection of goods. When he came home and entered the door, he saw the woman and Zhu Bingzhong sitting side by side, holding hands. Zhang Er stepped back and made a noise. Zhu Bingzhong came out to greet him and bowed. The two of them didn't know that Zhang Er had seen them. Zhang Er had already been somewhat suspicious before because of their affectionate behavior. Now, seeing them like this, his suspicion reached its peak. Zhang Er thought to himself, if I catch these two in the act, I'll make sure they die without a place to be buried. Then he went to Deking to do business. When he arrived in Deking, it was already the 1st day of the 5th lunar month. He settled his luggage in the inn, went to the street and bought a knife, which he hung around his waist. On the 4th day, he rushed back overnight and hid in another place. Let's leave that aside for now. Let's mention the woman again. She was eager to see Zhu Bingzhong. She went to invite him all day long. Zhu Bingzhong was also a bit ill at home. It was postponed until the 5th day. A man came to invite him to the Mandarin Duck gathering again. Zhu Bingzhong reluctantly went. On the upstairs, a sumptuous feast had been set up with various dishes. There were 2 large bowls of fried yellow croaker, 2 plates of stir-fried pheasant, wine infused with calamus, sweet-scented osmanthus-flavored glutinous rice dumplings, and other dishes, fruits, and vegetables that are too numerous to list one by one. The two of them started drinking heartily, not caring about anything else. I ask the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. The green wine is filled to the brim, and the red candle is half burned. In the middle of the courtyard, the shadows of the flowers and the moon intertwine. They drank until they were so drunk that they seemed to fall like a jade mountain. The two of them indulged in pleasure and laughter, not realizing that someone was peeking outside the door. While the two were drinking, Zhu Bingzhong suddenly felt his ears hot, his eyes twitching, and his heart and body trembling. He got up and asked to leave. The woman angrily said, "No wonder I've been inviting you all day and you didn't come. Why do you look down on me so much? You think you have a wife, but do you think I don't have a husband? You don't understand the meaning of my Mandarin Duck gathering at all. These 2 birds, whether they are flying, singing, resting, or eating, always stay together. If we can't be together in life, we'll be a pair in death. Once upon a time, Han Ping's wife was very beautiful. A prince wanted to take her away. The husband and wife both committed suicide. The prince was angry and buried them in 2 tombs. Later, a tree of joined branches grew on the tombs, and there were mandarin ducks on it that flew away, crying mournfully. These 2 people wanted to be like mandarin ducks, flying wing to wing and with their necks intertwined, but unexpectedly, it became an ominous prophecy. Moreover, the woman had just recovered from her illness and immediately indulged in excessive debauchery. Truly, a cat that steals chickens never changes its nature, and a woman who cheats on her husband will never stop. Let's talk about Zhang Erguan. Holding the knife in his hand, he quietly walked to the door, climbed a tree, and eavesdropped. He heard the 2 of them joking, singing, and shouting clearly. He was so angry that he couldn't hold it in and threw a brick. The woman blew out the lamp, and there was no sound. He threw 3 bricks in a row. The woman told Zhu Bingzhong to go to bed first, saying, "I'll go and take a look and come back soon." A man led the way with a candle and opened the door. There was no one there. The woman shouted, "Today is the Dragon Boat Festival. Which family doesn't drink a few cups of realgar wine?" Just as she was about to scold, Zhang Erguan jumped down and shouted, "Bitch! Who are you drinking with in the dead of night?" The woman was so frightened that she trembled all over and could only stammer, "No, no, no." Zhang Erguan said, "Come with me upstairs and take a look. If there's no one, that's fine. Why are you so flustered?" The woman saw Akiao and Li Erlang coming together again. She thought she was surely going to die and stretched out her neck, waiting for her end. Zhu Bingzhong, naked, jumped out of bed in a panic, crawled on the ground, and said, "I deserve to die, I deserve to die. I'm willing to offer all my property and my daughter to make amends. Please have mercy on me. My mother is old, my wife is delicate, and my children are young and weak." Zhang Erguan didn't listen to him. With a slash of the knife, 2 heads fell to the ground, and 2 jets of blood shot up into the sky. Truly, at that time, they didn't understand how kindness turned into resentment. Only now do they know that beauty is but an illusion. At the beginning, when the woman was lying ill, she had already heard Akiao and Li Erlang say, "On the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, the person who has been with you will meet you again through the hands of Zhang, whose surname is Zhang, which is written as in Chinese characters, dot." Indeed, on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, she was killed by Zhang Erguan. The person who has been with her was Zhu Bingzhong. Before good fortune or disaster arrives, ghosts and gods must know it in advance. Isn't it something to be feared? Therefore, it is known that if a scholar shows off his talent, his virtue will be shallow, and if a woman flaunts her beauty, her emotions will be unrestrained. If one can be as cautious as holding a full vessel and as careful as standing on the edge of a deep abyss, then one can become an upright gentleman or a virtuous lady. Wouldn't that be wonderful? It is my sincere wish that among all the people in the land, husbands and wives will be harmonious and gentle, like the harmonious sound of the qin and se, 2 musical instruments representing a harmonious couple. If there are mistakes, they should be corrected, and if there are potential problems, they should be guarded against. It is never too late to promote and uphold good social customs in education. All the readers here, listen to this story of the meeting of the Mandarin Ducks with their necks cut. I ask the singing companions to sing along with the previous tune again. When she saw the thrown brick, she secretly guessed the meaning. When he entered the door, her soul was already filled with fear. When the green blade of the sword passed by, those full of passion lost their lives. Even now, you still haven't realized your mistake. 3 lives were lost because of this. Truly, there is a divine retribution for the cycle of revenge. Another poem in the tune of Nang Xiangzi goes like this. The cuckoo's cries in late spring arouse grievances. It's pitiful that beauty fades and fragrance vanishes. A pair of amorous people were hurt by the white blade. It's a cycle of revenge. Sorrowfully, their souls went to the nether world. They clung on desperately until death, probably because there was a karmic connection in their previous lives. The scenery remains the same, but the people have dispersed. Alas! The moon, which has witnessed so much love through the ages, is still round as ever.